And in finance, Twitter's revenues are on the decline, but the company is still the subject of significant interest from tech giants looking to make a purchase. Let's take a look.
Slowly slipping, social media company Twitter is looking for a buyout. Sources close to the company have intimated interest from several media companies will likely end with a formal bid shortly. With news of the sale circulating, Twitter shares took off in after-hour trading. But even with the surge, things aren't looking good for the online network. RBC recently downgraded the company to underperforming and cut Twitter's price target down to $14.
If there's any lesson from Twitter from the last 2 to 3 years, is that the data to an advertiser has not been that useful, and that's why advertisers have been leaving Twitter, and that's why the revenue growth is decelerating.
Declining advertising sales may have left Twitter with no choice but to look for a partnership. Prospective buyers include media heavyweights Google and Salesforce, two companies that may be able to help Twitter revitalize revenues. Whichever way the buyout lands, it will certainly be something to tweet about.
And joining us now is I-24 News economy correspondent Shelby Weiner. Good afternoon to you, Shelby.
Thanks for having me.
Also with us is Dr. Billy Abraham of Superior Academic College. Thanks so much for being here. We'll get to you in a moment, but we're going to focus on this big story with Twitter. A sale could have massive implications, Shelby. How serious are these buyout talks?
So right now the buyout is very informal. It's more of a soft outreach where Twitter's saying we're welcome for bidders, and just now it's starting to get heated up. And as the conversation's momentum really gets going, maybe we could see a sale by the end of the year. That's really because Twitter is kind of like the rough gem of the media world. It's one of the last few that's really open for sale, but it needs a little bit work done on it, so it's not perfect. It's actually described as an unpolished jewel. One analyst called it a diamond trapped inside a hairball. So it's a little bit gross, but they have some work to be done, but they have massive potential. There's a huge data store. They have a lot of advertising capability, also real-time news, mobile video opportunities. They've got a lot going for them. It just needs to get put into shape so they can actually make revenue.
So you mentioned potential bidders in the report, Salesforce.com as well as Google. So what are the chances that they could potentially buy them out?
So Salesforce.com really wants Twitter for its data. That's something that would pair really nicely with the company, but looking at the most recent media sales, LinkedIn sold to Microsoft for $26 billion. If we're estimating around that same price range, Salesforce can't really afford them. So that leaves Google as really the big potential buyer, and it would be a good matchup for the two companies. Google, their failed attempt at social media with Google+. Twitter is already successful and has over 300 billion users. And so the two could really work together well. Plus, Google has YouTube and Twitter has Periscope and Vine. So there's a lot of video opportunities that could hybrid and sync up into a really nice business platform.
Shelby, thank you so much for this.
Thank you.
And staying on the topic of social media as well, here with us to talk about it and the latest in tech and consumerism is Dr. Billy Abraham, as I mentioned, from the Technology Marketing Department at Superior Academic College. Thanks so much for being here. So we just mentioned Google. We'll get to that in a bit. But first, I want to mention Facebook Marketplace. They're just launched. Have they already launched it?
Yes.
Or it's okay?
Yes.
So they've already launched it. People are calling it the friendlier version of Craigslist. So tell us about it.
Okay, first of all, it presents a lot of opportunities not only for Facebook, but also to the sellers and potential buyers. To Facebook, they have access to 1.7 billion users. So it means that when companies would want to advertise in the app, they would be able to ask for a bigger price for the advertisement. If we're talking about sellers, it's quite convenient using it. You don't have to open a new account. You just have to take a picture of your item and just upload it. If we're talking about users, it presents many opportunities. First of all, it's trustworthy, meaning, you're buying something not from somebody who is anonymous, somebody who has a Facebook account. It's really convenient because the tab is there in the main navigation bar, so it really makes great sense.
Yes, but I like to, for instance, just on a personal note, to keep my Facebook very, very private. And I don't know how comfortable I would be reaching out with my Facebook profile and engaging in some sort of a marketplace like this. So I'm wondering, some people must like that anonymity that other sites have.
Exactly. First of all, you really don't have to. It's only if you want to. And the great thing about it is that this tab makes it very convenient for potential buyers, because if you want to ask questions from the seller, all you have to do is just click on the Messenger tab and ask questions. You don't have to, log out and go into your email. So it really makes it very convenient.
Okay, so we're going to move to Google now. As we mentioned, lots of big news coming out of Google. They rolled out an entire new series of products yesterday, including a big challenger for the iPhone, the Pixel. I want to talk about the color names as well. It's pretty hysterical. And the Google Home device. So why now? Why is Google releasing all these devices now?
All right, well, first of all, there are two things. The first thing is that it really wants to get on the high-end market bandwagon. It really wants to compete with iPhone and the Galaxy. That's one thing. The other thing, it's the first product that they designed and built themselves, meaning the technology, the hardware and software would work seamlessly together, meaning that there would be less technical issues for consumers.
And what about Google Home? That's competing with Amazon's Echo?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is competing with them. Yeah.
And I want to mention, so I said, this has really made me laugh. I did watch this release, this live broadcast from Google yesterday, and the colors of the phone they're really, they sound funny. They're like really blue. What is it? Quite black and very silver. I think that's what the three colors are. I'm like thinking, where are they? I mean, from a marketing perspective.
I think Google's really trying to get into the quirky niche and attract people
exactly.
in.
But it's not even that quirky. It's just kind of strange.
Yeah, it does make a
Not
buzz.
necessarily successful, but it got you talking about
exactly.
it.
It makes
Okay.
you talking about it, and it really makes them stand out.
Yes, so
from the
from a marketing
competition.
perspective, that's why.
Yeah.
So then, is this a risky move then for Google, who has such strong partnerships with companies like LG and Samsung?
Yeah, well, according to some analysts, it is, because if you look at the smartphones today, most of them are based on Android. However, it is risking its relationship with its partners. But on the other hand, you can see that companies like LG, for example, have introduced their own softwares. So it's not going to be causing a very big risk, because other companies are introducing their own software. So
Okay, so from this, we're moving now to self-driving cars. The state of California has sort of relaxed laws regarding testing of self-driving cars. So tell us a bit more about that.
okay, so if we look at current regulations, according to current regulations, somebody has to be in the car. Meaning the car cannot drive by itself, okay? So this caused a lot of outcry from manufacturers and from disabled groups. For manufacturers, they said, look, your regulations are excessively restrictive, and they also hamper innovation. The disabled group said, look, they're meant to serve us because we're not able to drive. So all of these things together has made the change in the move.
So how are they improved then, these new regulations?
Well, according to the new regulations, the cars would be able to drive themselves under certain conditions, and as long as there's two-way communication with the car. The second thing that they've introduced is that companies who manufacture the cars would not be able to advertise them as self-driving if they only have self-driving enhancing systems, meaning like an enhanced cruise control system. So it means that they would not be able to mislead the public, which has been done somewhat now, because many cars that are not really self-driving cars were advertised as self-driving cars.
And moving now to another self-driving device is drones. We've heard a lot of companies want to experiment with drone delivery, especially Amazon. So we haven't really been seeing it, have we? Why is there this delay?
Okay, so first of all, I do want to say that the purpose of the drones is to really make the delivery much quicker. According to a recent survey, 47% of consumers said that they would be willing to pay $6 to $9 for the same day or next day shipment. That's a significant sum. 96% said that they consider fast delivery delivery that is same day or next day, and only 63% said that 3 to 4 days is fast delivery. Why has there been a delay? Because the FAA only now has started looking at the definition of the systems that we need in order to get drones going.
So still some work to be done there.
And there are privacy issues as well.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Dr. Abraham, as always, thank you so much for this.
Pleasure.